Hello and welcome to you. This another episode of Be Your Best You, the Passion into Purpose podcast. Every time I say that, I always get tongue-tied. It's a beautiful Friday afternoon here, and I'm here as usual with my two trusted friends, Poppy and Matilda, who are learning the art of sound engineering and not really giving a crap. So today I want to talk to you about how to live a life of wonder, but this perspective is coming from Kahlil Gibran, and some of you may be familiar with Gibran's work, The Prophet. And born in 1883, Gibran was a Lebanese-American poet and visual artist, and often considered one of the most influential literary thinkers in the modern Arabic world. And his most widely acclaimed and enduring work would be, to many, the Prophet. And the Prophet is a sweeping exploration of timeless themes, so from things like love to freedom to sorrow to work, and encourages us to take a radically new perspective on values and ideals, which often are encrusted in layers of cliche and stereotype. So what I have put together today, I've jotted down a few favourite quotes and passages from the book, and as we go along I'll share some thoughts and reflections. So kicking off on joy and sorrow. Your joy is your sorrow unmasked, and the self-same well from which your laughter rises was oftentimes filled with tears. And how else can it be? The deeper that sorrow carves into your being, the more joy you can contain. When you are sorrowful, look again into your heart, and you shall see that in truth you are weeping for that which has been your delight. Beautiful. So to find peace of mind and lightness of heart, learn to see all your emotions as an artist sees their subject, as something beautiful and terrible and endlessly fascinating, never right or wrong, but always miraculous. Enough said. On little things, for in the dew of little things, the heart finds its morning and is refreshed. Now, I've often thought that much of mental health and well-being comes from the capacity to explore and revel, anyway, in the joy of tiny things. So to sit and listen to your favourite song, do nothing else but close your eyes and watch the stream of memories and feelings that it evokes. There's nothing nicer than a piece of music to transport you back. I was on a call this week and the facilitator used the Nearer My God to Thee, the end of Titanic, and just when that piece of music, just this, and obviously in the context of Titanic, you know, the visuals are there, but the actual piece of music on its own, just an absolutely beautiful piece of music. If you're hiking or walking, sit down and wonder at what is around you. Like I always say when I'm working with clients, when's the last time you walked down the street and looked up or around you? We're so busy going from A to B to C to D that we don't take the time. And fascinating, in the town that I live in, there's some fascinating buildings, and it's just a matter of pausing for a second and looking up and to see the architecture that's there. Hold on for an extra second when someone gives you a hug. That is precious. When someone gives you a hug, they are inviting you into their space and you're allowing them into yours as well. But that extra second will just really calibrate the hug and what it's intended to be. Gibran on work. And what is it to work with love? It is to weave the cloth with threads drawn from your heart, even as if your beloved were to wear that cloth. It is to build a house with affection, even as if your beloved were to dwell in that house. It is to charge all things you fashion with a breath of your own spirit, and to know that all the blessed dead are standing about you watching. Work is love made visible. Do we see that though? Do we see love's subtle form in all our work? Big, small, work that we're paid for, work that we're not paid for? Taking out the bin. Do we see love's subtle form in taking out the bin? That is a very good question. But all forms of work become meaningful when we learn to see them as acts of love. Gibran on teachers. The teacher who walks into the shadow of the temple among his followers gives not of his wisdom, but rather of his faith and his lovingness. If he's indeed wise, he does not bid you enter the house of his wisdom, but rather leads you to the threshold of your own mind. The best teachers don't download information, they inspire us to learn. Gibran on time. Yet the timeless in you is aware of life's timelessness and knows that yesterday is but today's memory and tomorrow is today's dream. It's easy to get caught up in everyday life. So between schedules and appointments and deadlines and timelines and alarms and reminders and calendar events and all the stuff that we have to do. And I say have. Do we really have to do it? We need these things. We need timelines and alarms and all the rest. I have a wonderful new alarm that if I turn off my phone, it deducts $1 from my bank account. So I get up and I might go back the odd day and have a little bit of an extra snooze, but I know that's the time that I have set myself to go. And I penalise myself for not getting up at that time. But it is easy to become consumed by the timelines, deadlines, alarms, reminders, calendar events, all that kind of stuff. And it's a little terrifying how little time we dedicate to the most important things. The things that are timeless. Love, wonder, curiosity, learning, growth, play and community. And schedule those things. I often say it on the podcast and on the newsletters and when I'm working with clients. Often, what gets scheduled gets done. So if you schedule time for family, you will do family time. Now that might sound a little bit crazy, but it is mad. Once you commit to it, you will do it. Lots of rhymes here today. On children, you may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. Now, some of you are parents, and parents can sometimes be seen as carpenters. They have a blueprint for their children, a box of tools and an endless supply of, energy to help them to construct their children into something beautiful or successful or strong. And other parents see themselves as gardeners, calm stewards of little seeds that have, unimaginable potential. Their only job to tend the soil, water, and to allow for lots of sunshine. So it's an interesting take on that. On friendship, he says that when you part from your friend, you give not. For that which you love most in him may be clearer in his absence, as the mountain to the climber is clearer from the plain. And that's simply inviting us to relish all of life's vistas. At the city gate and by your fireside, I have seen you prostrate yourself and worship your own freedom. In the grove of the temple and in the shadow of the citadel, I have seen the freest among you wear their freedom as a yoke and a handcuff. This is Gibran on freedom. Freedom is not a means to an end. To what end do you desire freedom? And what will you do with it if it comes? Are you sure you're prepared for it? It's interesting that first-year college students and new retirees often have remarkably similar patterns of depression. There was a clinical study done on that. Gibran on love. Love one another, but make not a bond of love. Let it be rather a moving sea between the shores of your souls. Fill each other's cup, but drink not from one cup. Give one another of your bread, but eat not from the same loaf. Sing and dance together and be joyous, but let each one of you be alone, even as the strings of a lute are alone though they vibrate together. So many unhappy relationships come from having the wrong metaphors for love. And that, my friends, is just a few thoughts. Sorry, I have one more. I can't read my own writing. On reason and passion. Your reason and your passion are the rudder and sails of your seafaring. If either your sails or your rudder be broken, you can but toss and drift, or else be held at a standstill in mid-sea. For reason, ruling alone, is a force confining, and passion unattended is a flame that burns to its own destruction. Therefore let your should exalt your reason to the height of passion, that it may sing. And let it direct your passion with reason, that your passion may live through its own daily resurrection, and like the phoenix, rise above its ashes. The dance between reason versus passion is endlessly fascinating and beautiful. Why do we insist on ranking and prioritizing all these kind of things? Can't we marvel at both? And that, my friends, is just a few quotes from the Prophet, some lessons on work, life, and love, as interpreted by Kahlil Gibran. Join me next time for something else on Be Your Best You, the Passion into Purpose podcast. And if you have something you'd like me to have a chat about, or indeed if you'd like to have a chat with me about it, I'm always looking for new guests on the podcast. Do join me. And also, we are now on YouTube. All of the podcasts can be found on YouTube. So look for the Be Your Best You, Passion into Purpose YouTube channel. I think it's actually a little bit simpler than that. If you need anything, give me a shout. Drop me a line, david@beyourbestyou.ie. Until next time, be your best you.